So, just a quick video on some tips to building credit. What's up, guys? Maddie Q here, bringing you a helpful video on achieving life excellency. And for a lot of us, that means having excellent credit. Credit it's not that hard to build if you have the money to pay your bills on time. My first step to improving my credit was getting a better job that paid me more money. I was in bankruptcy and I realized that my life was a mess. And the first step was earning more income. So I went to trade school. It was very affordable. Pell Grant covered everything. The local career center did have a scholarship that they told me about, which that should be the starting point for a lot of you guys. A lot of you just aren't making the income that you need to build that great credit. The next step I took was utilizing Self-Lender. When I came out of my bankruptcy, I utilized Self-Lender. It is now known as Self. I can link it in the description. And what they do is they set you up for a loan, but you make the payments first, then you get the payout after that. That was significant because I use it basically as a Christmas savings account, but on your credit, this is going down as a loan. It is basically a loan. You pay the same finance fees. You just aren't getting that payout until after you make the payments. So I like to think of it as a reverse loan. It doesn't matter because you're not doing this for the money. You're doing this to build your credit. And having those payments on your account really help. I did this for about 3 years in a row, and I did this use it as a Christmas fund, like I said before. And this did another thing. It helped me to have money to buy like gifts and stuff for Christmas for my children. My job shuts down at Christmas time, so it helped alleviate those bills that came along with, being out of work during Christmas time. Sometimes it can be a scramble, paying your bills if you don't have anything planned up. So it alleviated that stress and it gave me money to shop for gifts. A lot of people go into debt over the holidays. Some of you may have had this happen to you. So having something that is going to pay out during Christmas time and you're making these smaller payments during the year ahead of time, it really helps planning wise, budget wise. It really, really helps. Trust me, guys. Some of you might want to do this yourself or set it up to where you're getting that payout like right before your child's birthday or your own birthday. If you just want to get that lump sum right before your birthday. Okay, let's say your birthday's in April. So you want to set it up in March. Start your loan in March and make those payments, and you'll get the check March of the next year. That way you're ready for your birthday in April. So that's how that works. I did mine. I set it up in November so that the November of the next year, I'll get the payment. I think it was like $1,700 when I did it. I think they changed things around a little bit, but back then when I was doing it, it was $1,700. I made those payments. I think they were about $150 a month. And yes, there's a finance charge that goes into that. So you're not going to get all of your money back. But keep in mind, this is something we're doing for credit. We're not doing this to turn a profit. The next steps I took was to get credit cards. After I did that for a couple of years, my credit score went up a lot. And, having those on-time payments on your credit helps. So I got credit cards. I did get a secured credit card first with Capital One. After about 3 months, I was able to apply for a regular credit card with Capital One. And 3 months after that, I applied for a credit card from my bank. So the bank gave me a $4,700 limit. That was the biggest limit that I had of all. I now have credit cards with $11,000 limits, $12,000 limits. And this is like 5 years after my credit journey. But that first credit card was a secured credit card. There's no shame in starting there. I did pay extra money. I want to say I paid about $800 to get the $1,000 limit. Capital One initially only wanted like maybe $100, I think. It wasn't a significant amount of money. They wanted like $100 for a credit limit of probably $200 or $300. And after I was approved and everything was finalized, they gave me an offer to pay extra money and I would get $1,000 limit. So I did. They credited my account with the $800 about 3 years after having the card, I think. So you do get the money back. And, it's just good to have the higher limit helps your credit. It just shows that you're approved for more money, and the more money you have total on your credit cards, the better. So another thing about the credit cards, you want to keep what you're using at 10%. You do want to use these cards. You do want them to report that you're using them. So you want to leave a balance on there that is 10% or lower. It used to be 30% back in the day, but now it is 10%. That is the sweet spot. You can check your credit on Credit Karma and see what day your credit cards are actually reporting, because that is the key. Sometimes your due date, most of the time, is not going to be the same day they're reporting to the bureaus. So you can zero out your balance every month. You can max out your credit card and zero out your balance every month. But if you have a maxed out balance on the day that they report to these credit bureaus, it's not looking good. So find out what day they report, and you want to pay your credit card down to 10% or less. I would actually, when I was building my credit, I would pay it down to like $1 or $2. That's all I would leave on there, $1 or $2, and I let them report, and then I'd zero it out for the month. So that's something that you guys can do. Your due date is important because you don't want to get late fees, but the date they report to those bureaus, the credit bureau, that is the most important date. You want to make sure you have that locked into your phone so that you have your balance down to 10% or below before they report to the credit bureaus, because it's going to make you look riskier if they're reporting that you have a higher balance. So that was something I made sure I did. I made sure it's only like $1 or $2 getting reported. And this helped my credit score go up to where I eventually was able to qualify for my home. I had a $720 credit score when I applied for my home loan. Got approved. And that is, another thing, when you're applying for your mortgages, you get like, I want to say 10 days or so, 10, 20 days, something like that, to apply to multiple mortgage brokers or banks, and it only counts as one. So I will say this, make sure you have all those lenders that you want to apply to lined up so that you can just go ahead and apply to them within within 1 or 2 days. Apply to everybody that you want to apply to, and it's all going to count as one. Don't apply to somebody this month, the next month apply to someone else, the next month apply to someone else. No, go ahead and list all your little lenders that you want to apply to and apply to them at one time. I think I covered all the key points that help me build my credit. After you close on your house, you get like a few weeks to maybe a month before your mortgage goes on your home. So if you want to get a new car after you close now, during the process of, applying for your home loan and you're waiting to close, you don't want to do nothing with your credit. But after you get those keys, okay, you want to get a new credit card, you want to get a car loan or whatever, that is a key time, because your credit looks a lot better and you look like you have a lot more money than you do before that mortgage hits your credit. So go ahead and do it during that time frame. Don't do more than what you can afford, obviously. So that's another thing. We talked about budgeting. Don't do more than you can afford. Have your budget out. But if you're going to get a new car or a new credit card, do it during that time. Let's see, what else can I tell you guys? I think that is it. Having those on-time payments was one of the biggest factors in building my credit. It made everything look so great and clean. You can try to settle accounts with old accounts that are delinquent. You can try to send out pay to delete letters. If I find a template, I'll link it below. But you can send out pay to delete letters to some of these companies that have old accounts on you, and you want to start at 30% and negotiate those debts. They might, ask for a little bit more, and you try to lowball them. That's how the negotiation process works. Start at 30%. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So that can be something you do to help get some debts off of your case. If you have medical bills, they almost always are willing to work with you and settle if you don't pay them right away. I remember I had substantial bills, probably, I want to say for like $4,000, and they did settle them for, I want to say $2,000 and something. I waited a year and I called them to negotiate the payments. It might be different at the hospital that you're working with, so just try different tactics to settle those debts for a significantly less price before they hit your credit, because you just want to try to nip things in a bud. So always try to negotiate first. You don't want to get a negative ding on your credit. And check with Credit Karma. I can link that below too. Check with Credit Karma, guys. They do free credit reports. You can check it yourself. It doesn't affect your credit. It's considered a soft pull. So you can check it as many times as you want, and just, be aware of where you are with your credit score. I know it can be scary. It was scary for me, during my bankruptcy. When I was getting close to the end of my bankruptcy, I was like, okay, it's time to start checking your credit report again. It was scary, and it wasn't as low as I thought it would be. So that was a pleasant surprise. Sometimes you're just scared for nothing, guys. Your credit might be wonderful. So, go on there. I'll link that in the description. Start checking that. If you follow these tips, you should see increases. I know I saw them within the first 6 months, but definitely after a year, you'll see significant increases in your credit. And that's all I have for you today, guys. See you on the next video.